Hello there, and welcome to my preview of Robot Wars. I can't lie, this is the second time I've recorded this, which is a little infuriating, really, but what can you do? Never mind. So, Series 10 is on, depending on when I get this uploaded, let's face it, it's going to be Sunday. So, today, it's on today, it starts today, I'm very excited for it. I won't be watching the original broadcast probably because that's dinner time, and I'm on holiday and wish to spend my time with my family instead of watching Robot Wars. I know, heathen of me to say, but I've said it now. Anyway, let's have a look at some of the robots. So we will start off at the very beginning with Sabretooth. Sabretooth this series have come back with a completely redesigned robot, apparently designed by Craig Danby of Team Foxic fame. It's very Minotaur-based, or very Minotaur-esque. I do like the new Sabretooth. The drum looks smashing, and I hope it gives other robots a good smashing. Once again, all that remains is the paint job, really, and even that might have changed. So, yeah, Sabretooth, looking very promising this heat. One thing I will say, it has little black studs at the base of it to keep the drum from hitting the ground all the time. I think if this robot is flipped, that drum will stop moving. Not only that, but it'll be running up the wrong way, so there is that as a problem. However, I would love to see Sabretooth do well this series, so who knows? Maybe they will do well. Up next, we have Behemoth, who have brought back their axe as an attachment, I believe. Either that, or it's just here permanently. So Behemoth are back with the axe. This is a good fact, as their gripper last series wasn't very good, and from experience, the axe acts as a better gripper than that, basically. I got to meet Ant and Behemoth at Robots Live in Stevenage recently. This was excellent, and he's a really nice guy. The robot's awesome up front. So yeah, I can't really complain about this team, and I really do hope they do well this series, because they deserve to, basically. They really do deserve to. I'm moving on my bed. It hurts. Yeah, but I love this robot. It's awesome, and I hope they do well, even if they go through to the 10-way at the end of the series. As previously mentioned in my changes to the rules of Series 3, watch that video, probably be linked at the end or something. Yeah, hopefully they'll do well this series. Up next is, as the announcer puts it so very nicely, Donald Thump. I laughed for about 5 minutes watching those videos on the BBC page of several of the robots being introduced, but how mad the announcer goes with the wonderful introductions to the robots. I adore it. I really do adore it. It's the best, just the best. Donald Thump, so bar spinner. It's got all the bits as said by the wannabe Donald Trump. I'm loving the whole campaign of Make Robot Wars Great Again. I think he's brilliant as Donald Trump. I love it. It's such a funny design. I don't care how well they do. They will be the funniest robot in the new series, potentially since Deitor. So yeah, loving Donald Thump. Up next is the now brother team, Apollo. Apollo has come back with a completely new design. It was needed. They've removed some bits that didn't need to be there, like that big black section at the top of the flipper arm. Don't know why it was there. It's not anymore. That was partially down to Carbide, partially them removing it. This robot is pretty cool. I'm loving it. I think it has great potential to take back the trophy this series. However, they might not. We will soon see what happens with Apollo. I don't know what's going to happen with Apollo. I didn't see it, so I can't comment. What I can comment on is seeing them at Robots Live. they seem pretty powerful, and I doubt that was up to full capacity. So yeah, Apollo looking strong for this series. Next up is Apocalypse. Apocalypse is... it's an X-Bot. It also has side axes. It's got this little scoop at the front of the wedge, or at the top of the wedge, in fact, to make sure that other robots get caught on it so they can keep hitting them with the axe. Liking this idea. This whole robot is about control and then hit. It's very reminiscent of Splinter, in my opinion. There's not much more I can say about it, really. I'm not sure why the wheels poke out the top. Perhaps that's just because of space. It seems like the axe was added at the end. Again, I don't think this is the case, but it does seem that way. And I'm not sure about this robot. They could potentially be quite damaging. On the other hand, they could potentially be Splinter again. Yeah. Next up is the Swarm. I'm loving this group of robots. Yes, they're all too light and will all potentially be thrown completely out of the arena, especially as Apollo's in the same heat as them. We've got Blender, which is the bar spinner on the far right. We've got Pincer, we've got Sky, and we've got Rubber Duck. Rubber Duck is a flipper. Sky is anti-spinner weaponry, so that windmill on top doesn't spin on its own, I don't think, but is instead spun by a spinner. I like this idea. I think it could work, especially as it's been done with rubber. Either that or the rubber will just be shredded. That could also happen. The only spinner in the heat, however, is Sabretooth, apart from Donald Thump. Both are vertical. This weaponry is meant for horizontal. Never mind. Pincer, obviously, is a crusher as well, and it can also, I believe, be angled up and down. You may recognise some of the members of this team, as they are actually Bigger Brother. They've ditched Dorte and now have these guys, and I love them for it. I think this is an awesome robot set. It's like Pokemon for Robot Wars. You got to catch them all. Awesome. So that is that heat. Who do I think will win? I don't know. It's tough to decide out of Sabretooth, Behemoth, and Apollo. I think all of them have strong chances. The others all sort of have chances, but at the same time, sort of don't. So, let's see what happens there. Heat 2. We start off with Eruption. I love the new front plates of Eruption. I think it's great to see something a bit more sturdy. And now there's multiple layers to go through for spinners so that they can hit the important bits, I'm guessing. And the flipper is a bit more protected, so that's also good. Will it work? I don't know. They're up against some pretty tough competition once again. It is like the grand final from Series 9 all over again. All in one heat, which I don't like. Didn't like last year, don't like this year. Like even less this year, as we've also got Aftershock in this heat. Aftershock have great potential this series. They've upgraded their armour to hardened steel and Hardox on the top. Their spinning set, they've got many different attachments for their spinner now. It is a fantastic robot. And there's now a kill switch, just in case Will Thomas goes a bit mad. Dad can turn him off, basically. He can stop the robot completely, and that'll be that. The kill switch may be flicked if Will goes a bit mad. Ian, please keep an eye on this young lad of yours, just in case. Next up, we have Crackers and Smash. Crackers and Smash are back. There's not much I can say about them. Crackers has a better flipper on it. Smash looks to be the same weaponry, but might not be. There's only 2 on the team now, and they've got better front ends. Apart from that, I can't say much. They're both invertible. I don't know about this robot. I don't think they're here to win. And even if they are, I don't think they will. So that's a shame for them, I suppose. My opinion means nothing. Just tell you now. Gabriel is back. The dad from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is more like the dad from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang now more than ever. He's gone very steampunk with his outfit. I'm liking it. I'm liking everything about his outfit. Where did he get it all? I wish to purchase. The fact of the matter is, Gabriel is a huge robot. It really is big. I've stood next to it. I think it came up to my nose, which means I am taller than it, just. But it is a fantastic robot, and I'm looking forward to seeing it in action again. They've got many different attachments for that blade. They've got that. They've got a mace. They've got a mace with spinning entanglement weaponry. It's going to be a good fights. It doesn't, however, look like it's holding up well in one of the fights in the trailer, but that sort of enters a bit of a spoiler territory, so ignore me if you like. Next up is Big Nipper. Big Nipper took a year off to have a long, hard think about what they've done. What they've done to improve their robot is added some googly eyes. Oh, and they've sort of done something to their spinner. That's also a thing. This does look like a completely new robot. It is made of titanium. It is wonderful. It looks as though they've got 8 wheels, 4 on top, 4 underneath. Whether the 4 on top are caster wheels or not, I don't know. How they operate, I also don't know. We shall soon see. Big Nipper, I like this robot, but I don't think it's going to win, unfortunately. Again, my opinion means nout. Carbide, last of all. Do you know, every time I look at Carbide, I look at ways you could win against it. If you can flip it, and then go for the wheels, or even if your spinner's high enough, just go for the wheels. They are so unprotected on the top, it is unbelievable. Why has nobody noticed this yet? Probably because Carbide is such a powerful robot, everyone's just trying to stay out of the way of their lovely spinning bar. And now their bar selection, they have about 3 or 4, I think. The bar that's attached in this photo is the what I'm referring to as the poisoned bar, as it is green at the ends. There is also a lovely cutting one, and their average boring one. So yeah, Carbide back with a vengeance. Who's going to win that heat then? I would like Aftershock to win this heat. I think they may do it. They can take out many of the robots, I think. If they can flip over Carbide and then get to the wheels, that would be amazing. I think that Carbide may get the chance to get into the final. Aftershock, I'm going to pick outright. Aftershock, I want to go through. There, I've said it. Now, if it doesn't happen, blame me. Next up, Heat 3. And is that Will Thomas again? Of course it is, because he's a teacher. Something I didn't know until about a few days ago. Not only is he a teacher, but his school are competing in Robot Wars this series, as you can see. They've got this wonderful robot, very reminiscent of robots such as 101 from the classic series and Suicidal Tendencies from the classic series. More so Suicidal Tendencies because of their weaponry on the front. This robot called Traction, I've been calling it Traction for I don't know how long, before realising what the actual word is. I am good at English. I think this robot's going to act more of as grabber than a piercer. That said, it's very sharp at the end, and could surprise me yet. The tracks, however, I do think are a little unprotected. We will see how they do in this heat. Let's see who else is joining them. It's all about the axe. Wait for a good hit. It's Terahertz. That is a good hit. I'm not sure how these guys keep getting picked for this show, because it's all meant to be about making your robot better for each series. The producers love it when you do something new. If you try and enter a robot that's too similar to the last series, unless you're the reigning champion, you're not going to get through unless they absolutely adore you and are in favour of you and want you to win the series. Perhaps that's what they're going with Terahertz. What I think Terahertz will be able to promise is that their axe should fire properly now that this was filmed in around May time, when it's not freezing cold. In fact, it was quite lovely in May, I remember. Yeah, whether it was lovely in Scotland in May, I don't know. It does look a bit wider than previously, but that might just be my perception of it. I do like this robot. It appears that they've rebuilt since the last series. I mean, they needed to. Here's hoping they'll do well this episode. I think they have a strong chance. Next up, I'm going to have nightmares about their mascot. This is Bucky the Robot. It is a giant pair of mechanical teeth, as the guy is holding, and is a grabber robot. This is different, definitely different. I love that people strive for difference in their robots, and I think it is definitely needed. This robot, it's wonderful. It really is wonderful. Whether it'll do well or not, I don't know. Potentially not, because it does seem a bit flimsy in places. However, I've got nothing more to say. That I think it's too steep. I think it's going to fall apart, especially when hit by something powerful and spinny. Speaking of which, Vulture have another innovative design. Their robot is what they're calling an overhead vertical spinner. So the spinner spins up, it then pecks like a beak, like a vulture, hence the name. It's interesting. It could be a hammer, it could be a spinner, it could be both. In fact, it is both. I love the shape of this. It is a wonderfully built robot, and I hope that their weaponry works. I just don't think it will. Prove me wrong, please, Vulture. I really hope it does work well for you, and you do well in the heat. If not, I'm not going to blow my own trumpet. Moving on. The most expensive robot in Robot Wars history got even more expensive when they gold-plated it. This is Rapid. They're back with their flipper. This time they have added polycarbonate to their sides. To start off, I thought, are they mad? But actually, you can now see their beautiful interior. This is a well-built robot. It is beautiful inside, it is beautiful outside, and the team say, genuinely, if you beat them, you could have a job. I would quite like that prospect, as they are a very technical group. I wouldn't be, though. So who will win this heat? Well, I think either Terahertz or Rapid have the strongest chance of going through. I'm not sure about anything else. It's quite an experimental heat. There are 4 new robots, and 2 that have some experience. Previously, Terahertz have more, obviously, because they've competed in oh so many series now. And as for Apex, well, maybe, but maybe not. We shall see. I think it's going to be a final between Terahertz and Rapid, though, so yeah, Terahertz have a very strong chance of winning this one. So moving on to the next heat, heat number 4, we have a robot that confuses me and scares me because of its high ground clearance and the way it's been built completely befuddles me, but it is Andron 4000. Wrongly represented in the Robot Wars books as Androne 4000, which sounds much better. Andron 4000, it is a crusher, but crushers don't tend to work these days unless you found wheels. So that's a thing, and I'm going to move on quickly to Iron Ore. Iron Ore 6 specifically. I don't know whether we've seen Iron Ore 6 previously in Robot Wars. I saw it at Robots Live. It did one fight, of which the flipper didn't work, and it was very firmly wedged by Behemoth into the side railing before being flipped out of the arena. So that was a good fight. Iron Ore 6 has some cannons to entangle spinners. Good on them. I think they have a strong chance in this heat, potentially, because they are a decent flipper when working. Next up, we have the kegs. These are spinners made of a beer keg that's been cut in half, and they're mounted on wood. Yeah, wood. They're both very different as well. One of them has a screw to balance them with 4 wheels, 2 at the bottom, 2 on top. One of them has 2 large wheels and something that they've constructed. This both confuses me and at the same time sort of makes sense, because they've tried to work with what they've got, basically, and I admire them for that. It is Team Terra Turtle back in disguise. So yeah, they're lovely ideas, but moving on. Tauron returns with this beautiful machine. So previously I hadn't realised that the Tauron weaponry could move. If the robot's flipped, it can tilt. The whole front bit can pivot, so that it is the correct way up, and the spinner can be run backwards within a fight to remedy, basically, the fact that they've been flipped. I love this, and I think Tauron could do so well in this episode. They look formidable. They really do look formidable now. Next up is Nuts 2, back again with their Melty Brain system, and I love saying Melty Brain. One of their mini-bots has changed as well, which is cool. I think it's got a camera on board now, so it can watch the fight. But Nuts 2 itself, Melty Brain, if you don't know, means that it can spin on the spot, as it used to do, and then it can spin towards their competitors. And it's all very confusing, and I don't know how it works, but it does, and that's the main thing. So yes, I'm looking forward to seeing Nuts working properly instead of being, and I'm going to use this phrase lightly, bottomed out of the arena. Indeed. Bye, Matilda. Moving on to Concussion. Concussion have fixed things, probably. The most notable difference is that they've added some funky lighting. This is cool. I like Concussion. I like the fact that they're amateurs coming in to a brand new heavyweight. They started with heavyweights. They've not done any other weight class, and they got through to the final, and they're back in this series. This is a wonderful drum spinner, invertible. I can see very little wrong with this robot. Hopefully they've fixed the things that were wrong with it last series. If not, could prove a little tricky. Anyway, Concussion. So who will win Heat 4? Tauron or Concussion? I think Nuts are in with the biggest chance they've ever had, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in action. So on to the final heat, and we start off with the most beautiful, most Robot Warsy robot I have ever laid my eyes on. Coyote is back, and I'm loving the design on the front gripper. I'm loving the copper effect, I'm loving the piping, I'm loving the mini-bot, I'm loving the whole thing with this robot, and the fact that it is just awesome. Will it win? Definitely not. No, because Control doesn't beat spinning weaponry. But it is beautiful, and I hope it doesn't get too damaged this series. So, yeah, that's that. Moving on, we have the school team that is Expulsion. Expulsion is back, basically. They've come back with a completely different robot of the same name. They have Suspension, that they are fighting in King of Bots, the Chinese robot fighting show. And in Robot Wars, back to our TV screens, we have Detention, which is a mini-bot that they're going to be driving around with their robot. Will they do well? Maybe. Maybe not. Their spinning weaponry is mounted in such a way that it won't really work. I don't think, anyway. The armour looks quite weak. Sort of looks like plastic to me, and I really hope it's not. Hope it's metal that they've sprayed, but I do think it is very plastic. Yeah, I'm not sure if they'll do well this series, but I like the fact that they've come back with something new, because the old one was very bulky, and as they've said, they've come back with something a bit sleeker. They've also got interchangeable weaponry, which is cool. And is it me, or does their second weapon that the guy is holding look a bit like a fidget spinner? Moving swiftly on, we've got Hobgoblin. It is now invertible. Hurrah for caster wheels. The front is no longer a wedge because apparently it was catching on the arena floor, but the weapon is still as brutal. We didn't get to see it last series, really, and I'm really hoping we do get to this time, because it's just a wonderful machine, isn't it, Hobgoblin, and I think it could be very destructive. A YouTubing robot, finally. Shane Swan invited last series Stephen McCullough and Anthony Murney into their team, and it's pushed to exit again. Basically, they have got some different spinner weaponry, which is not spinner weaponry, but entanglement weaponry. That's what I meant. I really hope Push to Exit do well this series, because it is a very fast robot, and I love front hinge flippers. I've just been watching the Series 5 semi-finals and final again, and Firestorm's just cool, isn't it? So Push to Exit leading the frontier now for front hinge flippers, and Stephen and Anthony, sorry, they're just great fun. They really are, and I hope that they thoroughly enjoyed the experience. And I am so very incredibly jealous of them. And hopefully I'll get onto the scene soon. So yeah, happy days. Now, penultimately, we have an old favourite. I got to meet this guy at Robots Live at the very end of the show. He was very busy trying to fix his robot, but he came over for a quick natter for 5 minutes, and even posed for a photo, which was very lovely of him. It is Jason, and it is Thor. Thor is back with a completely new robot once again, and it just seems to look better every time, doesn't it? The front scoop is inbuilt, and is a lot longer than previously, and looks a lot better, in fact. The whole robot is very sleek, very race car-like now. I love Thor. It's an awesome machine, and really hope it does well. Unfortunately, at a previous live event, not the one I went to, but the axe did snap off. So hopefully that won't happen in the actual show, but we will soon see. So lastly, and I have done these a bit out of order because of how things worked, but we have Magnetar with Ellis as team captain once again. Magnetar is the new Pulsar, basically. It is a beautiful machine, copper, black, looks awesome. I'm liking copper colours at the minute. That's just me, though. The drum sounds ferocious. He uploaded to both Facebook and YouTube. The sound of his drum, and you think it's going to stop, and then it keeps going, and sounds like a world screaming on fire or something. It sounds deliciously dangerous, and I'm really hoping that they get on better than last year, or last series, in fact. I keep forgetting that we've had 2 series, or we will have this year. How lucky are we, right? So yeah, I really hope that they do well this series, and you know, I sort of think they might win this heat. I want Thor to win a heat. At the same time, I want Push to Exit to win the heat. At the same time, I want Hobgoblin to win the heat. At the same time, I want Coyote or whatever you call it. I don't want it to win, I just want it. Can I have it, please? Thank you. Yeah, it's going to be a tough heat, that one. So, finalists that I've said, I'm going to be brutal in my choices. So let's go. Cheekily Sabretooth, Aftershock, Terahertz. I think then we'll have Tauron, and lastly, Thor. I really want Thor to win this one. It's going to be tough against something like Magnetar, but I think they probably could do it, or Jason could do it. Those are the competitors. All that remains for me to say is watch out for the Fog of War. I won't say any more. If you've not seen it already, it's going to be good fun. Robot Wars, 8 PM, BBC Two. Don't miss it like I will have to. I'm going to be watching on catch-up, so we'll have to avoid Facebook for several hours. Oh, lucky me. Anyway, thanks for listening. And watching, sort of. And hopefully, this recording, unlike the first one I did, works. Ta-ta.